Hello and welcome to the Rangers Review pre-match show. I am struggling now with my mic, as you can probably tell. We're just testing a few things out because Josh's Wi-Fi was broken, but it's now fixed and hopefully will remain in place for the remainder of this 10 or 15-minute show as we react to the Rangers team news as they face St Johnstone in the Scottish Cup. Josh, I'll read the lineups for you. I know you've got them down in front of you. They are Al McGregor, James Tavernier, Connor Golson, Ben Davies, Borna Barisic, John Lundstrom, Ryan Jack, Malik Tillman, Fashion Sakala, Alfredo Morelos, and Ryan Kent. On the substitutes bench, we've got John McLaughlin, Antonio Cholak, Glenn Kamara, James Sands, Scott Wright, Scotty Arfield, Leon King, Adam Devine, and Alex Lowry. So that is the lineup for this game. It's going to be, I would imagine, quite an interesting atmosphere at McDiarmid Park, given there are so few home fans. I spoke to someone close to the situation who told me on Monday that St Johnstone had only sold 350 tickets for their entire main stand. Now, it may be that that's accelerated somewhat, Joshua, because, of course, the chairman did come out and make a public apology about the fact that they'd sold 3 of the 4 stands at McDiarmid to Rangers. How is it looking in terms of the home contingent, and how is it looking in terms of the Rangers contingent? Because it must feel a little bit like a home game.
Yeah, well, hi everyone. Hopefully the Wi-Fi holds up. If it doesn't, it isn't. I can't take ownership of this one. I've tried my hotspot, but we're on the press box Wi-Fi, so we'll see if it holds up. Obviously, normally Jonny, when Rangers play away from home at McDiarmid Park, it's 2 stands, but now the stand opposite from Jan and the main stand with the press boxes is going to be full of Rangers fans as well. So it will be a bit of a unique occasion in that regard. The pitch looks not great, to be honest, Jonny. It's been really cold up here last night. There's not been much rain today, I don't think, which hopefully will mean it doesn't cut up too much. But I think you'll see after the warm-ups how it's going to be for the remainder of the game.
Josh, can I recommend that you stop your camera? That might help us with the sounds. If we don't have your face, it might just help us with the sound. Right, so let's have a couple of looks at this team, Joshua. I saw esteemed Stevie Clifford, columnist for the Rangers Review on Twitter, saying this was the strongest lineup that could be selected for the game. Looking at it, I probably have to agree with him. These arguments that Glenn Kamara, at the best form that he can give, should probably be in that Rangers midfield. But in the here and now, looking at the squad that's there, I'm hard-pressed to disagree with that. And you have to say that if Rangers can't go out and get the points today against St Johnstone, a St Johnstone side that don't have the home backing that they would normally expect behind them, there's going to be hell to pay, isn't there? Because there's an expectation that this cup record that Rangers have had is continued to be rectified. Because although the Scottish Cup was won, of course, last year, there's been a lot of pain over the recent seasons, and it's something that I think every Rangers fan wants to see turned round over a consistent period of time.
Yeah, I agree with the kind of strongest team. I think Ryan Jack, obviously at Hampden and as well away at Duncan, that was probably his 2 best performances, maybe even since the Scottish Cup final last season. Michael Beale has spoken about Ryan Jack a lot. He's obviously a player that he feels will be important between now and the end of the season. And it looks like John Lundstrom, until if Rangers do go and recruit a number 6, is going to be the first choice in that position. So no rotation there. I think it's important the back 4 stays together, Jonny, even though the left-hand side of it looks slightly vulnerable in recent games, both against Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. The front 3 has been the best functioning aspect of this team under Beale. If you look at the goal involvements, the consistency of Kent, Sakala, Morelos. So I'd agree that it's the most consistent team. It's Cholak on the bench, Jonny. I didn't actually take a look at the bench.
Yes, Antonio Cholak is back. He's on the bench.
That's important because although he might not be fully fit, you saw it at Hampden, the benefit of having a player who can come off the bench and be a goal threat in the box like Kemar Roofe. Beale actually hasn't had that option in many games. Often he's had to really manage the minutes of players. And I think you saw the game against Aberdeen, Morelos really tired out of that defence, and then Roofe was able to come on when the game was more being played in the Aberdeen half and find space in the penalty box and finish. So he could have a role to play today. Tillman has to come back in there. Of course, in midfield took a rest in midweek. And the rest of the team largely stays unchanged. Obviously, that's partly because of St Johnny, but again, I think it's important that Rangers have our strongest 11 at the moment. And I agree with Stevie's assessment that the 11 picked today certainly qualifies as that at the moment.
Yeah, you know what, Josh? I'm going to let you go because your line is not good at all, even with the picture off. So leave it to me, pal. Go and enjoy the game, and I'll catch up with you soon. Right, I'm going to take some questions. Why not? Do it solo, see if I can get on without messing up too badly. We're going to go straight to Bob Affett. He's asking about Morgan Whittaker. He didn't make the Swansea squad today. He is a transfer target of the club. Michael Beale confirmed, I think, what many of us have been hearing over the last week or so. And he could become, as Bob puts it, the third player to come in, although the Rangers have not confirmed the other two that are on the radar, which of course are Todd Cantwell and Nicholas Raskin. I think if you could get those three in, that would be a real boon to this squad and would be a massive upgrade on what's there at the moment in those positions. By all accounts, and having spoken to people, Whittaker is a very talented young lad, someone who I think is capable of performing at levels akin to the Premier League, the Premiership, given what he's done in League One, where he was the best player, I think, for the first half of the season. He's able to play across the front three. He's tricky, he's skillful, he's quick. So he's someone that would hopefully come in and add that final bit that Rangers need in the right wing, because it's not a position that's ever really been tied down since Daniel Candeias walked out the door. So you have to say, looking at the transfer dealings in that area, Rabi Matondo hasn't been convincing. I don't think Michael Beale has used them all that much, which is quite telling given how stretched the squad has been. So if he was to come in, clearly it would be an additional bit of strength in that area, and something I think Rangers absolutely need, on top of the two who are central midfield players who I think we all believe will be coming in as well. So interesting that indeed Russell Martin, the Swansea manager, said that he would be in the squad and now he isn't. That, to me, is a fairly big and clear development about where that transfer saga is going. I'll move on to the next one, which is from RFC56. I see Big Ange putting pressure on refs has really paid off for him since. What a joke this game has become. It is a bizarre penalty awards in the Celtic game. I don't think there's anything anyone can doubt that, really. Anyone who watches it, and I've seen a lot of Celtic fans, to be fair, who are agreeing it is a bit of a bonkers decision in that game. But it's one of those situations that when you've got a referee who looks at it and doesn't award it, and then VAR tell them to go to the monitor, they're under severe pressure. Now, I don't know why Kevin Clancy has gone to that monitor and thought, no, there is a penalty there, because clearly the ball ricochets up off someone's foot and hits the guy in the hand when it's in a natural position close to his body. So it does seem to be an absolutely bizarre decision. There's been a couple this season, to be fair, on Celtic. They also had a truly terrible decision when Matt O'Reilly was penalised for handball earlier on. So it's clear that the handball rule is causing problems all over Europe. We saw it at the World Cup. We're seeing it here in Scotland. And it's something that IFAB really need to get on top of and clarify and get back under control, because that handball rule plus VAR, I think, is causing people a lot of consternation. It's putting a lot of stress on technology in the case of VAR that should be able to be accepted and embraced by fans. But at the moment, certainly in Scotland, perhaps unsurprisingly, considering how parochial we are and how people struggle to entertain the concept of something that's a little bit different or new, it really seems to be something that's causing a lot of controversy. But I'm sure, and this is the kind of top line from this, Rangers are going to get affected by this at some point, because there's just too many handball decisions that are proving controversial for it not to. So I think that's something that we've got to keep our eyes out for, because it's just so ubiquitous across other games. It's inevitable that Rangers are going to be affected at some point. Another one from RFC 56. Morelos will score today, but we can get a better striker who'll score more goals with his wage. Like Boyd said, it was a stark raving mad to hand Morelos a new contract. Well, I disagree with Chris Boyd. I would give Alfredo Morelos a new contract. He's a nightmare at times. He's frustrating at times. But I think Rangers are a better team with him in it. And I don't think it's very easy to go and get a better player than Alfredo Morelos for the budget Rangers have. I think it's near impossible. Very, very difficult indeed. So I think if you could tie him up, get him fit and firing, then it would be a good deal. But I also agree that it's perfectly valid to say that you think Alfredo Morelos has had his time in the sun, and everyone can walk away from this happy with him, the club's top scorer in Europe, and having done so much over the years to improve the standing of the club. I don't think anyone could doubt that from Alfredo Morelos. He has been good in that respect. George Higgins saying he feels like it should be a comfortable win today for Rangers. I have to agree with that. I fancy the club to go out there, the players to go out there and take advantage of that atmosphere where it's basically like a home game, and they will win no problem. Teddy Bears is talking about Charlie McCann looks likely to leave the club and head down to Forest Green Rovers. Multiple reports linking him with a move to the club in England, a £350,000 approximate fee. And for me, I know a lot of fans are really unhappy to see a young player go, but I've not really seen enough from Charlie McCann to say that he's good enough to come into this Rangers squad and make a big difference. I do think he's a talented kid, and maybe he goes away to another team and has 2 or 3 years first team action and vastly improves, and it's one that you look back on and you say there's a mistake being made there. But a little bit like Ross McCrory, perhaps. Sorry, I think he's a good player, but I just don't think he's quite good enough. That's my honest opinion on it. And if you've got Cantwell coming in, if you've got Raskin coming in, when you've already got multiple players of real high international level quality in that midfield, why keep someone around who's on a decent wage for his age when you can bring in some money and kind of restart the process all over again? I think it makes sense for me to let Charlie McCann go. As The Apprentice, as Alan Sugar always says, with regret, you're fired. And it's one of those with regret. I think it's the right move for Rangers to sell him on, because a good player, but maybe not quite at the level for me. I know there'll be people who disagree with that or say that maybe he hasn't a chance, but really you have to be really top class nowadays to get in and play for Rangers because of all the work that's going on to improve the team. So best of luck to Charlie McCann in his endeavours, and I'm sure he'll have a terrific career post Ibrox. Few more questions coming in. Steely FM saying hopefully we'll see one or two signings announced after this game. Feels like it's been never ending being told we would see 2-3 players signing in the coming days. I think it's just a case, Steely, of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. I think we'll see movement in the hours and potentially days ahead, but I don't think you'll be having to wait too long, put it that way. There's a number of things that I think are in the process, ready to come to the boil, as it were. So that's one that I would just keep your eyes on. I'm not saying anything's going to be announced today, but I don't think we're too long away from transfer dealings having been confirmed on that one. Right, guys, listen, I'm going to call it a day. I've gone without Josh now for 10 minutes. There's obviously tons to talk about, and we'll go into a lot more detail on Monday. But there's a game on, obviously, now. It's going to be very interesting to see how that one pans out. And hopefully, when we next speak to you, we'll be talking about another Rangers win. Michael Beale, obviously, on a great run of victories, with the only caveat of the draw in the Old Firm game. I think we all feel that one should have been a win as well, given the last-minute nature of Celtic's equaliser. So, with no more further ado, I'm going to beat it and catch up with what's happening in this game. Until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the